America. And in times of trouble, the United States turns to its institutions for stability. And while no trivial sporting event could ever heal the wounds of 9/11, baseball was, for many, at least a distraction from the devastation. Today, we honor those we lost while celebrating how far we have come with a simple game of baseball. On this 9/11, 2015, 14 years removed from that tragic and notorious day, we welcome you to Tropicana Field as the Rays begin a 10-game homestand, and tonight, Game 1 of a 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. So great to have you with us here tonight as the Rays and the Red Sox go at it. Well, the Rays not happy with their last road trip. One guy who might not be so happy to get home, though, is Logan Forsythe. He was outstanding on that 3-city trip.
Well, I'll tell you what, for Logan Forsythe, he was so good at the very beginning, it led him to be the AL Player of the Week. I mean, he was outstanding, and it started in Baltimore where he went 9 for 10, had 3 hits in every ball game of that series, and he would end up wrapping up the road trip with the .417 average. He had 6 doubles, a triple, a home run, scored 8 times, and just consistency. That's the name of the game. And even when you talk to Logan Forsythe about, what has impressed him most about this year, he said the ability to stay healthy, the ability to stay consistent. That's what we've seen, hitting the ball from right field all the way over to left field and looking to finish this season very, very strong. This 10-game homestand coming up.
And so the Rays come home 5 games back in the wild card with 23 games left to play. Any hope at all will ride on a very successful homestand. And it will be Chris Archer on the mound tonight for the Rays. We'll have it all in just a moment.
And Tampa Bay will send their ace right-hander Chris Archer on the mound, making his 30th start of the season. And in 187 1/3 innings pitched, Archer starts tonight with a chance to set a club record. You can see with 228 strikeouts, he is chasing down the mark set by Scott Kazmir of 239 in the 07 season. Archer will certainly break it, assuming he'll make the start tonight, plus a few others. We still have 23 games to go. Chris Archer dominant in the strikeout department. He'll be opposed by a lefty, Wade Miley, in 3 minutes and 33 seconds until the first pitch. It's the kickoff to a 10-game homestand. The Rays need a big run down the stretch. It all starts tonight against the Red Sox. Enjoy the action with Wayne and BA coming up next.
Heads to the hill for the Rays tonight to open this homestand in the series against the Boston Red Sox, the team against whom he has had difficulty. And the Rays have a lot riding on this one tonight as they attempt to remain relevant in the wild card chase. Take a look at the starting lineups presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Mookie Betts is going to lead it off, the center fielder, followed by Brock Holt, and then Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop. David Ortiz will be the DH, and Travis Shaw's at first. Pablo Sandoval is at third. Bruce Day Castillo in left. Ryan Hannigan will hit eighth and catch. Jackie Bradley Jr. is in right, hitting ninth.
And the numbers, Dwayne, that you're talking about, Chris Archer looking to turn around, are those career numbers against the Red Sox. 9 starts, a 1-6 record, 5.48 earned run average, and the win came in his first ever start against Boston. That was back on September the 19th of 2012. So he is long overdue to defeating this ball club.
And he will find a red-hot lineup. This Boston ball club has been scoring runs almost at will, it seems. And they have moved to within 7 games of the 500 mark. They're still running last in the American League East, but they're making a move.
Well, let's take a quick look at that Rays defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield left to right, we have Matzhook, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. making his return. And across that infield third to first, Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Schaefer, with Rene Rivera behind the plate.
First pitch of this game presented by Pinch a Penny. And it's a fastball at 94 in there for a strike. We are underway. That's riding a 15-game hitting streak. 0-2 the count. His overall average up to 286, 387 for the life of that streak. And up and down this lineup, The Red Sox have hitters who, when the Rays saw them last, were not hitting. Since then, they have been red hot.
Their best hitter right now is hitting ninth.
Jackie Bradley Jr. has absolutely been on fire. Foul out of play by Betts.
And I'm sure that everybody in Boston, players, staff included, are saying, where was this early in the year? Because the offense has been doing very well, obviously scoring a ton of runs, a lot of hot hitters, but even the starting pitching has been much improved, the last few weeks. Everything clicking right now.
It's upstairs. It's 1-2, so Archer starts this game with 12 wins. He's 12-11. Motivated every time out there, but particularly one would think tonight. Ground ball, and it's stopped at first by Schaefer, and the race to the bag got him. Schaefer just with that glove hand extended just in time to get Betts. He had to scramble for that out.
And there was no way. Chris Archer, there was a slight hesitation coming off the mound, so he had no help from his pitcher. You watch this right here. Ball's hit. See, Archer still hadn't started, so there was no play to be made unless you do it yourself, and he got there just ahead.
So just in the nick of time right there. So great effort by Schaefer to get the first out.
And not assuming that the pitcher's going to be there. A lot of first basemen may assume, I'm going to flip this one. He never assumed that, and that gave him a chance.
Here's Brock Holt, the second baseman. 1 ball, no strikes. Holt has done a nice job playing all over the place for Boston. Foul out of play the other way. And it's 1-1. Dustin Pedroia had missed so much time on the disabled list. He missed time with the right hamstring issue. A couple of times was on the shelf with that. He did start in their games Tuesday and Wednesday. 2-1 off speed there. Archer would like a new baseball. For Lovello, the manager, the interim manager for the Red Sox. Holt fouls this one out of play. John Farrell, their skipper, battling a medical situation. Our thoughts are with him. In the meantime, Lovello has taken over. And the Red Sox have seen good things happen. Fouls it again.
They had put themselves in such a big hole early in the season that this recent run has kind of gone unnoticed. But you can go back and follow this team back into July, and since late July they're averaging over. Well, here it is, six runs a game, and even better since the middle of August.
Chopped to short. It's Cabrera making the play, and Holt is the second out. A couple of ground ball outs. It's striking what they've done since the middle of August.
I mean, show me any deficiencies. First of all, first in everything, but the average, they've been clutch, a ton of extra base hits. Obviously, that's going to lead to slugging, but this team has just been mashing. And then you combine this with the recent run of their starting rotation, throwing the ball much better, and it's no wonder why they're starting to win some ball games. Probably going to end up being too little too late, but you figure something to build on, especially with all these young players on this team, this being one of them.
Xander Bogaerts having a great year. Takes a strike, a fastball on the outside corner. Bogaerts now third in the league in hitting. one off the mitt of Rivera, and it's 1-1.
And he's still just 22 years old. So learning and growing up quickly.
Well, the other thing about him, when you break him down lefty righty, he's certainly held his own against right-handed pitching. He's been very good against left-handed pitching, and he's been great with runners in scoring position.
Well, and what has helped him against the right-handed pitching is being able to stay inside the baseball better than he did last year, and being able to shoot that ball the other way. You know, that they're going to, the slider down and away, try to hit it into right field. It's cost him a little bit in his power numbers. I think there's more power there than what you've seen from him on the season, but it has certainly allowed him to raise that average and on base.
Yeah, just 5 home runs, but 71 runs batted in. There's an example right there, a base hit inside the right field line.
And you know what? Tip your hat to the Rays defense, because they understand that this is the type of hitter that Bogaerts is, and that he's going to see some sliders down and away. He gets one here. Okay, he's going to go the other way. This ball is between Richie Schaefer and first base. More times than not, this is going to be a double where he put that. But Souza Jr. was defensing him very well, keeps him to a single. That's a nice job by the Rays D.
And David Ortiz comes into this series with 498 career home runs. So 2 shy of 500. He's chasing Eddie Murray for 26th on the all-time Major League home run list. Pitch down and in. And he has certainly hit his share of home runs here at Tropicana Field.
How about the medallion? And you know it's real.
High popper. It's going to be out of play back at third. Take a look at that home run list that has helped him acquire that medallion. 27th right now, and Eddie Murray next with 504. 26th on the all-time list.
I mean, that is a ton of bombs. And like I said, bombs. See, I would be afraid if you got running a little too fast, that thing would chip your tooth. It's hanging down so low.
Well, he doesn't have to run that fast. He just hits the ball far and trots.
I think you're right. A speedster could never wear that medallion hanging down that low.
Number one, it would slow him down. And number two, you're right. The potential dental issues would prevent that.
I mean, that is some piece of jewelry. I'm sorry.
Close with a fastball. A little something on that one at 97.
Well, this is one of those matchups that will get your blood boiling.
Ortiz 7 of 21 in his career against Archer, and 2 of those have been home runs. Two outs, a man on, 2-2 to Ortiz. He takes it low, rolling in behind Rivera, reaching back to pick it up, and the count is full. Well, you talk about a shift on for this guy, and the Rays, as we all know, run a lot of shifts. And look where Forsythe is out there.
Well, it goes back to the not worried about the medallion chipping the tooth. You're not worried about the speed. Go deep, give yourself range.
Three-two. Ground ball foul outside the line. So Schaefer gloves that one.
Well, and you know what? The vast majority right here in the air.
Yeah. Off the monster.
Yes. That's right. Target practice.
3-2 again. Shot to center. Kiermaier is going to have to keep going back. It will one hop to the wall. Bogaerts heads to the plate. It's a double for Ortiz, and it's a 1-0 ball game. Ortiz driving in his 91st run.
Well, and when you are able to clear Kevin Kiermaier, that means that you have crushed that pitch. A slider that stayed down and out over, and he puts such a charge into it and hits it on such a line, it gets over Kiermaier's head. One hops the wall, and of course Bogaerts, running with 2 outs, is going to score.
Now it's Travis Shaw. He's out in front. Strike 1 on the changeup. Remember when Shaw came up, the Rays were playing the Red Sox, and it was just about the time they started to get hot. He came up on the 1st of August, was 4 for 4, and then went 2 for 4 the following day. And shortly after that, this team got red hot. 2-1.
Well, you go back, even if you went to July the 30th, you know, they're 22-15. You do that a couple of times, and before too long, you're 15, 20 games above 500. And if you're scoring as many runs as they are, the pitching doesn't even have to be that great.
Yep. It's a 3-1 count. Shaw out of Washington Courthouse, Ohio.
I know Washington Courthouse,
Ohio. Say that's your territory.
It is.
And it's upstairs. So that sends Shaw to first and second. Run home with 2 outs. Rivera chats with Archer before they work to Sandoval.
And Chris Archer, a couple of those pitches were just overthrown, and I'm sure that is what Rene Rivera is going out there to remind him, hey, listen, stay within yourself. Your stuff is plenty good enough. You don't have to try to make it better.
Well, he got the first 2 outs on 12 pitches. He's about to make his 30th pitch of the inning all of a sudden. Sandoval takes a strike. Slider to start him. Two, foul ball.
Well, let's just think real quick and keep your eye on it. Bogaerts base hit on a slider. Ortiz base hit on a slider. A real aggressive swing right there. Sandoval on the slider. Although if he throws him a good one here below the zone, you probably could get a chase.
Ooh, pretty close to the fastball. And again, 96. How about that pitch?
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. Rivera wanted it up. They wanted to chase up with the fastball. That one got yanked a little bit and just off the inside corner. Let's see what they come back here. Decipher that.
And he got him. Went up that time. Up at 97 to strike him out. A run scores on the double by Ortiz. Rays coming in to hit. Down 1-0. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Brandon Guyer leads off, followed by Mikey Montook, and then Evan Longoria, Logan Forsythe, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Steven Souza Jr. returns to the lineup tonight, hitting 6th. Richie Schaefer hits 7th in front of Kevin Kiermaier and Rene Rivera.
Well, they'll be going up against left-hander Wade Miley. 4th straight start that the Rays will have seen a lefty starter.
And a shot toward right center field. That's going to be over the head of Bradley. Extra bases for Guyer. Brandon Guyer wasting no time at all, going for that first pitch, and now he's in scoring position.
Well, that's what the Rays do to left-handed starters. They make life on them very, very hard. First pitch fastball. This one not even a bad pitch. It's on the outside corner. But Brandon Guyer, he's right up on top of the plate, so he can cover that pitch with ease. And he got enough of it to clear Jackie Bradley Jr.
So just like that, the potential tying run in scoring position. Mikey Montook takes the pitch, and that's a strike. Upper 80s in the velocity department for Miley on the fastball. It's a strike on the corner.
Wade Miley making his 29th start. 168 2/3 innings, through 9 his last time out against the Philadelphia Phillies. 9 innings, complete game, 2 earned runs, picked up that 11th win.
Miley moving that one off speed wide, taken for a ball. Pop up, foul ball. Shaw's after it, and so is the catcher Hannigan, making a great effort, coming up short in front of the Rays dugout.
Boy, it's surprising that that ball landed. You know, you're thinking, okay, if it gets into the dugout, on top of the dugout, okay. But Boston Red Sox, Hannigan, Shaw, not able to get there in time. Great effort by Ryan Hannigan. Ends up just a hair short.
Yeah, that's, as you can see there, that's a tough play for a catcher.
Bad angle, full of equipment.
So another shot for Montook. There it is, a base hit into center field. Guyer's going to head to the plate, a bobble by Betts. Montook takes advantage and moves into second. So the Rays tie it and now have another man in scoring position.
Boy, a couple of things here. First of all, Wade Miley just continued to stay away from Montook. You just can't throw 4 or 5 pitches in the same area without tipping off a hitter. And watch Montook, another one away. Okay, fine, I've seen enough of him out there. Let me lean out over the plate and hit a bullet to center. And then Mookie Betts probably wasn't going to get Guyer anyway, but that little flub right there cost him 90 feet because Montook sees that and he gets into scoring position.
So here's Evan Longoria, and he's fouling the first pitch away. Strike one.
And if you're Wade Miley, a Rays hitter needs to see a pitch in off the plate. Because right now, Brandon Guyer diving out over. Montook 4 pitches in. He's diving out over. Longoria. Everything's been away.
It's blocked by Hannigan. Yeah, you're right. At some point, if you're the pitcher out there, suddenly the lineup has taken control of the bottom of the first.
Well, I was thinking after that pop-up by Montook, right there, you've got to blow a fastball in there. And I'm thinking between Miley, who's logged some innings, and Hannigan, they would have gone there. They stayed away, and Montook was all over.
Down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Double by Guyer, the base hit by Montook, and the run batted in. He moved to second on the 3rd error of the year, charged to Betts. cut and a miss. And out in front, we have a 2-2 count.
Well, the Rays came to swing the bats tonight. They're swinging with authority.
There's a foul ball. Well, they've certainly seen enough of Miley. He's 2-1 here at the Trop with an earned run average of under 1 in 3 starts. Bounces it foul outside of third. Our Buick big matchup. Let's take a look at that. Bob McMiley in his career so far against the Rays, covering 5 starts and a 141 earned run average, winning 3 of the 4 decisions.
Rays are one more hit from going over that ERA already.
A 2-2 count on Evan. Longoria is 2 of 13 against Miley. One of those hits a home run. And he takes ball 3, checked in time. Taps that one. It's a 3-2 changeup, and he extends the at-bat with that little chopping foul ball.
And it can become frustrating for a pitcher when you get an at-bat like this against Longoria, where a number of good pitches that you would love a hitter to go after, Evans been able to foul them off, keep them out of play, and live to see another pitch. Maybe this one is the one that's off the plate for ball 4 or out over that you can drive.
There's a liner up the left side. Just fair. Montook would score. Longoria heads to second. He has a double. Then the Rays lead 2-1. Well, they didn't have to hit it hard, but it was a line drive just fair.
Well, and this was the first changeup that Miley has left out over the plate. The last couple were down and away. He fouled them off. This one, look at this, stays middle, and he's able to go down and sweep it out into left field. I'll tell you, they've got a great game plan here tonight against Wade Miley. I know we're 3 hitters in, but impressive all 3.
Well, they have some momentum going, that's for sure. And here is Logan Forsythe. He takes a fastball. That's a strike. $16 home runs for Forsythe. He has 1 off Miley. Ball 1 strike. High fly ball back into center. Betts going back, angling to his left, all the way to the wall at right center. The tag, and Longoria goes to third. Forsythe got great carry on that ball, just kept going as Betts angled out to make the catch.
Well, think about that home run that he hit the other way in Detroit. You got to poke it to get it out there, and you've got to really drive it as a right-hander to get it that deep here at Tropicana Field. And it was deep enough you get Longoria to third with less than 2.
And now it's Jubal Cabrera. So looking for some kind of good contact here. Infield back. And the pitch is foul out of play. So a great chance for the Rays to pick up another run here in the first.
And this speaks to Boston's confidence in their offense. Even though they're facing Chris Archer, more than willing to give this run up because of the way that they've been swinging the bat and not wanting to allow an even bigger inning by the Rays.
1-1.
That's probably a tough call. Chris Archer on the mound. You don't want to. You want to concede too many runs.
Well, it's an opportunity for the Rays to pick up this guy at third. Evan Longoria down there. Evan double homer run. Now he's at third. 2-1 to count on Cabrera. A little roller picked up by Miley. And Longoria is still at third.
Unfortunate check swing there. That cost the Rays a chance for the run. Let's take a quick look at that Red Sox defense. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, Rusney Castillo, Mookie Betts, and Jackie Bradley Jr. And across that infield, third to first, Pablo Sandoval, Xander Bogaerts, Brock Holt, Travis Shaw, with Ryan Hanigan behind the plate.
Now Steven Souza Jr. just back in the lineup tonight. Takes the pitch outside. Souza missing 34 games with the fractured left hand. 1-1. That goes back to early August, and there's that pitch at Fenway that got him, fracturing the left hand.
Well, that's Joe Kelly too, and we know that his fastball up in the mid-90s. But he got to get ready for this game here tonight by being a ringer for the Stone Crabs.
Yep. He had 3 games at Durham and 2 at Port Charlotte. Fly ball into center field. That's going to drop. Base hit. Longoria scores. And the Rays make it 3-1.
Oh, I thought for sure off the bat it was going to hang up long enough for Mookie Betts to get to it. And at the very last minute, he pulls up and allows this ball to drop in. Jams him a little bit off the label of the bat. Hits softly. Watch Betts. You think, he's going to be able to get in there and get to that right there. Decides to pull up and concede that run.
Well, the Rays will certainly take it. Souza back in at first. A 3-run first for the Rays to answer the one the Red Sox scored. Richie Schaefer at the plate. It's a strike on the outside part of the plate.
Really not surprising. Wade Miley, his year has been like this. 2 earned or fewer in 15 of his 28 starts, but he's had 8 starts where he's given up 5 earned or more. So it's really been feast or famine.
A 1-1 count. Covered up by Hanigan. 2-1.
He's almost 30 pitches deep.
Take it for a strike. Off speed, and the count is 2-2. Down to third. Sandoval will play it to second for the force. Rays are out in the first inning, but they come up with 3 and take a 3-1 lead. reminder, fans, every Friday, Flashback Race Day brought to you by Jeep. Submit the best vintage photo of yourself by using hashtag FlashbackRays. We'll select the best photo and feature it in the postgame show. There's a mid-90s fastball in there for a strike to Rusney Castillo. And that one in for strike two. Moving away from him.
You renewed. You know, you go to the bench after the top of the first inning angry that you're behind already 1-0. All of a sudden, next time you take the mound, you're up a couple of runs. So you're going to see Chris Archer here really bear down, knowing the Rays need a zero here. Far too often in these situations, they've immediately allowed the other team to score and answer.
Ball away, 1-2. It's the veteran catcher, Ryan Hannigan, on deck. Cut the miss, and Castillo is out of there, missing the slider. So a strikeout to end the first on a fastball by Sandoval. Now the slider gets Castillo.
And not even one of the better ones that we'll see from Chris Archer here tonight. But still good enough to get the out.
This is Hannigan. The count for the Rays back home after two 10-game or 10-day road trips. The last one a 9-game 10-day trip sandwiched around a short homestand. So here they are home for a while now. 2-0. One of just two stands left for the Rays. A strike on the outside part of the plate.
And just a quick update now that the East is playing each other, Yankees and Blue Jays, that series up in New York. 5-run first for Toronto. Donaldson, 2-run homer. Smoke, 2-run homer.
Of course.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, how often have they done that? Have we talked about? They just go out and start the game and just throw up a 3-spot, 5-spot, maybe 7 in the third.
It almost seems routine.
It does. Although, just recently got done playing the Red Sox. Red Sox took 2 out of 3 from them.
Yes, they did. And they gave him some of their own music, beat him 10-4 on Wednesday. Strike call on the outside edge. So Hannigan caught looking.
I think something you're going to want to see Chris Archer try to clean up a little bit has been some of the side-to-side by the slider. You know, usually that pitch has better depth, and he's still got the last 2 hitters strikeouts on that pitch, but I guarantee you he's not happy with the execution of them. Same thing with the fastball up. Few that he's tried to go up with, he's yanked. So a lot more side-to-side right now than top to bottom, which is what Archer wants.
Well, here's Jackie Bradley Jr., and this is a brand new hitter from the one we've seen trying to make the transition from the minor leagues to the major leagues, overpowered by the fastball there. The Lows never stop improving it. Since August 9th, Bradley Jr. has not stopped improving, hitting .416 since then. 1-2. Off speed there.
Good changeup. You know, that's going to become a bigger part of Chris Archer's arsenal. It really is a pitch he's really happy with in its development.
2-2.
We saw that a couple of starts ago, in Baltimore, where it just showed flashes of being unhittable. I mean, it had that split type of movement to it.
You can imagine with the good slider and then the changeup with that action on it.
Come on.
And then there's 96, 97 to go with it. There's a slider to take care of Bradley Jr. So 3 strikeouts in the inning. Strikes out the side. Castillo, number 1. Hannigan, number 2. Bradley, number 3. Rays lead 3-1. The bottom of the 2nd inning, and the pitch to him is a strike. Rays in to hit on the heels of Archer striking out the side. Kiermaier, base hit the other way. Sandoval was in at 3rd. He got it through the hole on the left side. Kiermaier's aboard.
That's where Kiermaier's going to make his presence known against left-handed pitching by taking the pitch. Right here, Wade Miley trying to cut that ball away, take the pitch away, and hit it away. And he's able to find a hole right here, and that speed is aboard.
You know, that's great. It's a base hit. But it was great to watch him stay on that pitch against a left-hander. That's what he's done since August, when that swing has cut down a bit, and he's hit over 300. Well, those are great signs out of Kiermaier.
Well, and you know what? He had to be allowed to do that early on in the season against a lefty, especially a tough lefty. He's not in there. You know, all of a sudden you start to notice that, but then just as quickly you notice that against every lefty, you know, since then, just about every, he's been out there playing.
Rivera sends a fly ball center field, and that's caught by Betts.
And that's how you learn to do it, because Kevin Kiermaier, his ability to change a game with his speed and his defense in center field make him an everyday player. And to do that, you got to be allowed to do that.
He can change the game in center field, in the batter's box, and on the bases. I mean, how many players can you say that about? And he's got a chance to continue to get better.
He's just scratching the surface. You know, he hasn't had a lot of big league time, lefty on lefty. We've seen him, you know, taking more risks as far as the stolen base goes. And the defense has always been there.
Geyer out in front of the changeup. See Miley almost a speed up delivery with a runner on and then give you the changeup.
Yeah, that's twofold. You're right. It helps you control the running game, but it also throws off the timing of a hitter. He sees you with the slide step. His mind speeds up, and you slow the pitch down.
Back to the hill. And at second, they're going to call him out. on the exchange. And here comes Kevin Cash.
He's going to want to take a look. To the naked eye, it looked like it was on the exchange. I mean, he had to, you got to get those balls out of there so quick. But I think Kevin Cash wondering, is this something that we can take a look at? This is not judgment on the umpire.
So he checked in with Ted Barrett and says, okay, good. Let's go. So Kiermaier's out. Out on the force at second. Here's another look.
You're going to try to rush this. Ball clearly in the glove and clearly on the transfer.
Geyer aboard. Took out in front of the changeup. Took single in a row his first time. A couple of guys from Louisiana facing off here. Miley out of southeastern Louisiana is born in Hammond. And Montauk, as you know, went to LSU, born in Lafayette. Lives in Baton Rouge. Stairs 1 and 2. And over there, it's not Lafayette, it's Lafayette. There's a difference. Might be Lafayette somewhere else.
It would have been in my world.
Yeah, Lafayette in Louisiana. Got it. Just nicked him. So Montauk will head to first. That pushes Geyer into scoring position.
Well, remember the last at bat. Everything away. Montauk leaning out over the plate. Gets a base hit. And here, see that just grazed the jersey. Actually could see that one clean. Figured it was going to be a matter of time before Miley came up and in on somebody.
Evan Longoria. Foul ball for a strike. Rays got 3 in the first after the Red Sox put 1 in the top half of the first, 1 on the board. Ground ball, 1 hop to short. A little flip, Bogarts to Holt. Rays lead 2 or 3-2. 3-1 Tampa Bay. the Rays have the perfect addition to any window with the DJ Kitty Plush Window Cling, presented by Tradewinds Island Resorts. All fans take one home with them while supplies last tomorrow when the Rays take on the Red Sox. Call 888-FAN-RAYS for tickets or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Top of the order up here for Boston, Mookie Betts. And he looks at a slider for a called strike. One and one. Betts, Holt, and Bogarts due up. Betts retired in the first inning on the close play at first when Schaefer hustled his way into the bag and got the tag on the bag just before Betts arrived. And what has turned out to be rather commonplace for the Rays with Schaefer, they're making him as versatile as possible. First, third, in the outfield. DH at times. A full count on Betts. It's kind of standard operating procedure for the Rays.
And it increases your ability to make the team. You think about coming out of spring training next year. If you're a guy that's swinging the bat, making some adjustments on the offensive side, can play all over the place. We've already seen how that plays here.
That's a great pitch right there. 3-2. The slider got him looking. Impressive by the Rays right-hander Archer.
Well, he throws it at any count, behind, ahead. This is the first one we've seen with the real good depth. And Betts hoping that ball's below the zone or off the plate. It is neither. What a punch out.
5 consecutive strikeouts for Archer. The last 4 on the slider. Holt bounces this one back foul. Here's a guy the Red Sox have utilized the way we were talking about what the Rays love to do. Holt can play all over the place. He's been a valuable member of this Boston team. 0-2.
Well, the thing that's nice about it too is you have different opportunities to give a guy a rest and get him out. If there is an injury, you think about Dustin Pedroia going down. Well, he can go out and play second for as long as need be. And those players, you're seeing that more and more around the league.
Fastball up, and now it's 1-2. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two and 2 now to Holt. 1 out, bases empty. Oh, pretty close right there. Tried the slider, and Holt took it. Full count.
Yeah, started off and stayed off, trying to backdoor that pitch.
Trying to get really sophisticated with it there. How about that? We'll try that one. Strike 3 call. That's 6 in a row for Archer. All on strikeouts. Slider looking.
Started off and then had more of a cutting type action. That pitch stayed up, but I'll tell you what, the reaction to Chris Archer gave after that strikeout, the fist into the glove, he is feeling it right now.
Xander Bogaerts. Single up the right field line on a slider his first time. Rolls this one foul. That's a strike. A 33 pitch first inning for Archer. when he gave up the run. He got the first 2 men on 12 pitches and then gave up the run. And then 1, 2, 3 on 15 pitches in the second. All 3 on strikeouts, and now the first 2 retired via the strikeout in the third. That went by Bogaerts at 97. 0-2.
Yeah, Chris Archer is sending a message to the Boston dugout. Not this time. He's 1 win against this team, and that came back in his first start against them in 2012.
Struck him out. Fastball at 98. Something special here by Chris Archer, striking out the side in the second, again in the third. That's 7 consecutive strikeouts. And the Rays lead 3-1. Seven strikeouts in a row for Archer. And you saw that conversation he's having with Jim Hickey. We'll get back to that in a moment. Let's just highlight this, the high-def highlight presented by H.H. Gregg.
Well, and you're seeing the slider here. That one right there was the best. But for the most part, the slider for Archer has been more side to side than having that great depth that we're typically, used to seeing from him. I mean, he has not brought out his best stuff yet here tonight.
And he's
still doing this.
7 consecutive strikeouts.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's how good the stuff is.
Forsythe taking a strike. He's down 0-2. And back to that conversation he had with Hickey. I don't know if we have video of that, but it's really instructive.
Well, it's exactly what we've been talking about up here about Chris tonight is a little more side to side than normal. Usually Chris pitches from top to bottom. It allows him to elevate the fastball, bring it down when he wants to, and that's what gives him the good tilt and depth on the slider. Tonight, some of the fastballs have been yanked and the slider has been flat. Still effective, but that's what Jim Hickey was talking to him about.
And a strike 3 call, and Forsythe will look back at Ted Barrett asking him about that.
And that is, I think, more impressive than anything. When you can be out there and not be as sharp as we've seen you in the past, and still, after a couple of hitters in the first inning, just punch out the last 7 guys of a lineup that's red hot. That speaks to how good that kid can be, and is.
Jubal Cabrera, who takes the ball. Cabrera out on a check swing his first time. He came into the game hitting .289 against lefties this year, .264 overall. And a good look at a pitch off the plate. The fastball around 90. Back at third, fair, glove by Sandoval. Throw to first in time. Nice play by Sandoval at third on a ball just inside the line.
Well, he had to go down. Watch how he's going to try to get this. Close enough to be able to make a play. That ball actually started foul. Comes back fair. And now you got an inside turn and make that long throw just ahead of the runner, Cabrera.
Steven Souza Jr. Just strike to him. Dropped a base hit into center field his first time. That drove in a run. Check swing, and that's a foul ball. I'm going to say if that's fair, he's got a good chance of beating that one out, but it was foul early on.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that gets out of the box well, runs well, long stride, deceptively fast.
One ball, two strikes. Up a little bit, a little close to the fist, and Souza got out of there.
Well, and not real happy either, but here's the deal. He stands right up, gets close to the plate, and, you know, when you watch where his hands are, pitches up and in, they're not too far off the plate. So we've already seen him hit there twice, and that's going to continue. Close to the dish, and the hands, he's not afraid to get him out close.
Oh, he went that time, says Adam Hamari down there at first base. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. On to the fourth, 3-1 Tampa Bay. September 19th, after the Rays play the Orioles. Come see Sister Hazel's hits, all for you, and change your mind. For info, visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts or call 888-FAN-RAYS.
Very comfortable group.
7 strikeouts in a row as we go to the fourth. David Ortiz takes the first pitch from Archer for a strike. That will tie the franchise record held by Andy Sonnenstein against the Marlins back in June of '07. And that foul ball takes the count to 2 strikes here against David Ortiz.
And how apropos would it be to get that number 8 against this guy? himself in position, that's for sure.
0-2. Oh, close. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ortiz looked it over.
Yeah, and that's all you could have done with that pitch. A good changeup, down and away, maybe a hair off the plate.
Ground ball to the right side. Forsythe at short right will record the out. And so Ortiz is out of there. That stops the streak of strikeouts at 7. And now 8 in a row retired by Archer. So Archer matches the club record for consecutive strikeouts in a game. And he now faces Travis Shaw. Shaw walked his first time. Takes a strike. One and one. Archer dropping 6 consecutive decisions against the Red Sox over a span of 8 starts. Has a 3-1 lead in the 4th tonight. A big cut, a foul ball on a fastball. One and two. Cut and a miss. Now I think they're going to say, I think Barrett is saying that maybe that ball hit the ground first.
Yeah, it did. It bounced into the glove of Rivera.
Kevin Cash satisfied that Barrett saw it correctly. So a foul ball. And it's a 1-2 count. Two balls, 2 strikes. Tapper foul. Archer gave up a 2-out single, then a double and a walk in the first, producing the Boston run. And nothing since the walk to Shaw. Came close to striking him out, but he just got a little piece of it. And there's strike 3 call on a fastball. Strikeout number 8.
Well, he's got the mix here tonight. Travis Shaw obviously not looking for the heater, or if he was, just couldn't pull the trigger. Look at the location on this pitch. I mean, right on the outer third, outside corner. That's about right. Dumbfounded.
Pablo Sandoval fouls it back, digging in and swinging at a first pitch fastball at 96. He chased a fastball at 97 up to strike out in the first inning. Liner into center. That's going to drop in front of Kiermaier. Sandoval has a base hit.
Pretty impressive right there. That was a changeup down, way down. You can just go down there and get it, and line that ball right away, straight away center field.
Rusney Castillo. Sends it back. Castillo up there right now. Started the game at 288. He was recalled from Pawtucket at the end of July, and since then has hit well over 300. Well, that's the case with a lot of these Boston hitters. They all started to heat up in August. 1-1 count. Out of play the other way, and it's 1-2.
Non-verbals going on between Chris Archer and Rene Rivera about what they want to do with this next pitch as he went in to get a new baseball. Kind of a look, a nod, maybe this way, and here we go.
A little tapper, rolled it short, the force at second. A man left. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 3-1 Rays.
September 11, 2015. 14 years removed from the terrible events of 9/11/2001 that made this country more resilient and stronger than ever. And Major League Baseball wants to make sure that they never forget. That's why players, coaches, umpires, all wearing flags on their caps. All proceeds from the sales of these caps will be donated to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, the Pentagon Memorial, the Flight 93 Memorial. All the bases guys say we shall not forget. And Major League Baseball shall never forget 9/11. Back to you.
Todd, thank you. First pitch to Schaefer's a breaking ball. He takes it for a strike. So here we are at the bottom of the fourth. Rays leading 3-1. 1-1. Schaefer, Kiermaier, and Rivera due up against Wade Miley. Shortstop, Bogarts. It's the first out of the inning. Schaefer's 0 for 2.
Well, Wade Miley, after getting ambushed early, the Rays, a great approach off him, has made some adjustment. We've seen some more fastballs in. We've seen him cut it in. We've seen change-ups away. The Rays were in attack mode early and struck for 3 in the first. And that's where they stand now.
Kiermaier got it by Sandoval. Got a base hit through the hole on the left side his first time. The pitch is a strike. 1-1. Smiley in with 11 wins, 10 losses. Fouled back 1-2. Coming off a 9-2 win over the Phillies his last time out on the 5th. Gave up 2 runs on 5 hits. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 8. A little popper. That'll be handled by Bogarts at shortstop. So 2 up and 2 down in the bottom of the 4th inning in this game tonight and all season. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. In steps Rene Rivera. Rivera in here catching tonight, goes after the first pitch and rolls it to Sandoval, who's throw to first, and that's a quick inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. 3-1 through 4. History. October 30th, 2001, President George W. Bush stepped onto the mound at Yankee Stadium to throw out the first pitch. That's Game 3 of the World Series, just 6 weeks after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And BA, you were there. In fact, you started that game.
I did. That was, all of this I missed because at this point, I was warming up down in the bullpen. But the atmosphere at that game, with what was going on in the country at that time, I knew then, I don't care how long I would continue to play, would never make a start bigger than that one. It was surreal to say the least.
One can only imagine, to have been in your shoes, what that was like. An unbelievable life experience.
Yeah. Well, and we had played the first 2 games of that series in Arizona, had won both, and then flew to New York. The day before was an off day. And they took us down to the World Trade Center, the site. And, we were down there for a few hours and going into seeing things and smelling. It was just, you just can't even really describe it. It was something else with all the, the first responders down there, everybody that was working and spending time with them. And then having to all of a sudden shift gears. And, oh, by the way, we got a World Series game to play the next day. It was just strange.
3 months removed, but really way too fresh still from that tragedy.
Yeah, and that was it. Well, October 30th stretched into, we took a week off. I think all of Major League Baseball was, shut down for a week. But it was just a strange time. But the New York, the crowd there with George W. Bush throwing out the first pitch was just like something that you maybe never get a chance to experience again.
Yeah, there were a lot of individual steps back, but collectively, one of the biggest steps back for the U.S. was that night.
Yeah.
1-2 here to Ryan Hannigan. He fouls it off, and I'm just in awe that my partner was a part of that. I'll tell you, that's a bigger moment. I know you were starting, and as you said, you missed that because you were starting. But boy, what a moment for you. I'm glad you had that.
Well,
so great.
In the moment, I got to deal with that lineup, and I got to deal with a team that's down 2-0 and cannot lose that game. So, there was a lot going on. That at that point you focus on the job that you have to do in that particular night. But looking back on it now, it's just strange. At the same time, with what the country was going through, it gave them 3 or 4 hours every night to be able to just focus in on the game that we all love.
Yeah, this one back to the mound, knocked down Archer with a quick throw to first. Got him! Archer recovered. He was scrambling on the mound trying to find it, and then trying to find a position from which to throw, and he did.
Maybe that's what's going to help him with his throws to the bases. You don't have time to think. They got to do a lot of thinking and to try to find that baseball, but once he did, it was just reaction, turn and fire it. Where is it? Now just fire it. And it's right there on the money.
Well, a strike to first. He's been throwing a lot of them to the plate, and he got Hannigan there. Lead man gone in the 5th. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. Eight strikeouts tonight for Archer. Giving up 3 hits and a walk. And now he's behind Bradley Jr. 2-0. Boy, the turnaround by Jackie Bradley Jr. is impressive indeed.
Well, there was a lot of hype surrounding him. And then, just kind of stutter and stop. So it just could never really put it together consistently enough to seize the everyday job. But you're right. I mean, you go back, and this is now for an extended period of time. Those numbers that we showed earlier of the 417 average, that goes back over a month. Put it this way, it's the same average that Logan Forsythe had on the road trip. Now, granted, that was an extended road trip, but a month would be 3 of those road trips. That's something else.
2-2. Under it, and he pops it up. Says Jubal Cabrera making that catch. 2 up, 2 down in the 5th. So we go back to the top of the order, starting the 3rd time through. And Mookie Betts, who is 0 for 2, riding a 15-game hitting streak right now. Mookie Betts has been impressive from the first time we saw him in a Boston uniform.
Think about the guys that have made an impact on us, rather quickly. Coming up to that, Brock Holt, I remember we saw him early on and we're like, hey, this guy, you like what he, and same with Betts.
Yep, absolutely.
Same with Shaw. Enough already.
2 strikes. Slider and a little bit of that one foul.
He's starting to get these hitters. He's been so overpowering that the hesitancy on some of these swings. I love that. I love when the catcher gives you that closed fist. With nobody on base, all that means is shake. You're not even shaking off a pitch. You're just letting the hitter think that you're shaking off a pitch. Mind games. Love when they have you shake twice.
Yeah, and then you come in at 98.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You know, the hitter may think, okay, I think he's coming fastball here. And then they see you shake, and they're like, ooh, maybe breaking ball. You start to talk yourself out of what you may be looking for, when meanwhile he was shaking at nothing. It was a fake shake. I've pulled those out many a time on the dance floor.
A foul ball.
And you know what? And I'll tell you something. Much like the hitters on the fake shake, you leave empty-handed, baby. You leave empty-handed.
Catch people looking.
Oh, they'll do that.
Oh, the old BA fake shake. Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouls it back. Battling the fastball. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Rays, a run, 3 hits for Boston. Two and two.
And that's an example of what we were talking about with the slider getting side to side. You know, how many times we see that slider by Archer, it's short and it's got 2 playing tilt. That one right there kind of just sweeping off the plate. That's not the slider that Chris Archer is looking for. That is.
And Betts takes it.
That's a good take.
Can't hit it, take it.
Yeah, I mean, you see it down. You know, he starts this ball down and away. Good recognition at the end. And he lets it run off. But that's more in line to what Archer's looking for, a little bit better depth.
And he bounces this one in. So he gives up his second walk. He walked Shaw back in the first. 2-out walk in the 5th now to Betts. And he'll face Brock Holt. It's really interesting, as you point out, and we saw that conversation a couple innings ago between Hickey and Archer. Archer's had a great night here, and has not had his best stuff.
Against a lineup that's been hot.
Yep.
That just tells you, you know, the ceiling for Chris Archer, how high it is.
He starts Holt with a strike. Mid-90s fastball. Reaching 100 pitches. A big part of that, 33 in the first inning. He's been pretty much on his average pitch count since then. And a foul on the reach. 0-2. Tony Romero up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Fly ball left center field. Kiermaier on the run. Over there is Montauk, and he got it. Montauk got it. Let's make sure Kiermaier's okay. He'll be helped up by Mikey Montauk and gives him a hug. What a catch in left center field. Mikey Montauk racing into left center field to grab that one. Here's another look. Put a star by that one. And the Rays lead 3-1. Bottom of the fifth inning, and boy, what a play he made to end the top half of this inning on that drive by Holt.
This ball was almost going to split Montook and Kiermaier, but he's able to reach up. Kiermaier able to avoid him. And you're right, because that's 3-2, runner on second or third, depending on where that ball would have bounced to.
So the Rays defense playing a big role. First pitch to Geyer is a strike. Geyer, Montook, and then Longoria do in the Rays half of the fifth against Miley. The liner into center, and Betts is there to make the catch. One gone. Here is Mikey Montook. Montook has an RBI single and a great catch, and has also been hit by a pitch tonight. Strike on the outside part of the plate. One. Romero's been joined by Gomes in the Rays bullpen. Archer has made 102 pitches through 5 innings. And you know, he would be down there trying to keep himself in this game.
Yeah, you know that Chris Archer would be lobbying to stay. Got off to that slow start with the 33 pitches early. And it'll be interesting to see how the Rays do this, because if they go to the bullpen now, then you're looking at 12 outs. Got to pitch 4 innings.
The liner right back to Miley, who grabs it. Montook could not get that one past Miley.
This ball off the end of the bat, you'll hear it crack. And Miley, just enough reaction time, and it works out that you're a lefty too, right to the glove side.
Now Longoria. First pitch strike on a fastball. Evan 1 out of 2. Doubled in a run and scored 1 in the 3-run first. All of the scoring tonight occurring in the first inning. It's going to be on the corner, says Ted Barrett. Two balls, 2 strikes. Rays getting their 4th look this year at Miley. He's 2 outs into the 5th inning of this game. That ball, Bradley over there in the bullpen, and makes the catch, leaping the mound on the front side of the mound. Jackie Bradley Jr. saw that carry some hang time with it and got there, running into the middle of the bullpen with a little leap. 3-1 Rays. Xander Bogaerts, but the Rays came right back. Mikey Montauk with a base hit chased home Brandon Guyer. Evan Longoria's double got the second run home. Steven Souza Jr. back in the lineup, drops a base hit into center field to give Chris Archer a 3-1 lead. He's taking care of the rest.
Yeah, just that one run, 8 strikeouts, and more importantly than anything, back out there to start the 6th.
And 7 strikeouts in a row, and those 8 came in the span of 9 hitters. Here's a chopper deep in the hole. Cabrera gets the throw away, but no chance that Bogaerts has a base hit. He didn't hit the ball hard, but it was perfectly placed from the Boston point of view.
I took Cabrera way deep into the hole, and just no chance you're going to get Bogaerts. Leadoff runner aboard. Pretty good job just to get to that. And then the rainbow.
Bogaerts on for the second time. And here's David Ortiz. 1 for 2 with the RBI double. 1 ball, no strikes. Upstairs, fastball, 2-0.
The one thing that we showed earlier, Logan Forsythe, where he would play against Ortiz, he's a lot closer now because of the base runner at first.
There's a strike, and for the first time tonight, the Red Sox do have the leadoff man on base.
Hey, you remember he was back here. All of a sudden, runner on, you're thinking about having the chance to turn a double play. You got to bring him in a little bit closer.
Three and one. There's a fly ball going to drop into right center field. Souza gets there in a hurry, throws headed to third, but not in time. And it's first and third. That ball off the bat of Ortiz, and softly enough that it would not carry.
And that was a great read by Xander Bogaerts, because that ball off the bat, he really didn't hesitate, got a read on it and took that right to third base, where if there's any hesitation, he's probably stuck at second.
So now first and third, nobody out, and that's going to be it for Chris Archer. 5 innings plus, back with the new pitcher in a moment. innings plus and 108 pitches for Chris. A run on 5 hits. He struck out 8, walked 2, responsible for men on the corners. And Enny Romero is the new pitcher on to face Travis Shaw. First pitch misses. Well, Romero starting to get a high leverage situation sprinkled into some recent appearances. In one now, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, that's the thing. You say, well, 8th inning, 9th inning. No. Right now, 2-run game. Wade Miley's calmed things down on the Boston end. Boston's threatening. This is a huge spot. Nobody out.
It's 2-1 with Shaw.
And you know what? He's earned it. He's earned it. He's pitched himself into this position.
Young left-hander. Pop. Ball's foul. Not going to be playable. It's a 2-2 count. Last 8 appearances, covering 10 1/3 innings, 1 earned run, and 8 hits with 13 strikeouts and a walk. Line drive, that's a fair ball, headed toward the corner. Bogart scores. Souza trouble picking it up, but stopping at third is Ortiz. Shaw winds up at second, and it's a 3-2 contest now. The Rays lead down to 1.
Now he got a slider, and it doesn't get far enough away. Actually stays middle in, and Shaw just able to rope that ball down into the corner. Any other runner on first base would score here as that ball eludes the grasp of Souza Jr. But with David Ortiz running, Brian Butterfield, third base coach, wisely holds him up. But now you've got second and third, nobody out, and you're nursing a 1-run lead.
Sandoval will be the hitter. And Jim Hickey concludes the conference on the Hill. So Sandoval in here from the left side against Romero, and the pitch is a strike. You'll recall Sandoval was a switch hitter. Does have a handful of at-bats from the right side, but going strictly from the left side now.
Well, and now Romero has put himself in a position to go for the strikeout. The Rays, infield back, conceding this run, but maybe you get the strikeout.
Ground ball short. Cabrera up with it. Wide throw to first. Run scores. Everybody's safe. Ortiz scores the tying run. Shaw remaining at second.
Boy, tough play. That ball slapped the other way. Tough for Cabrera as he goes down. Now you've got to spin inside. It's hard to get anything on the throw, and it's just a little bit wide.
So 2-men reach against Romero. Another pitching change coming. Let's go places by Outback Steakhouse Curbside Takeaway, by Morgan Auto Group, and by Circle K with all your snacking needs. The new pitcher is Brandon Gomes, making his 53rd appearance, and he inherits 2 runners and will face Rusney Castillo. Strike 1. Castillo struck out, hit into a fielder's choice. Fly ball center field. Kiermaier races back. He'll catch it. Shaw tags and goes to third. First and third now with 1 out.
Well, Castillo is able to get into that ball enough, and he gets out to the deeper part of right center field and on a line. So Kiermaier's got to catch that ball running away from second base. That's what allows the tag up, and now you get that runner to third, less than 2. Although you got middle of the diamond, you got a chance at a double play.
Ryan Hannigan will bat. Hannigan called out on strikes in the 2nd, out pitcher first in the 5th. That's a strike. Hannigan would be a good double play candidate because of the speed situation, but he does tend to hit the ball in the air.
And the ground ball rate for Brandon Gomes is 36%.
Yeah.
Nowhere near ground ball pitcher territory. Doesn't mean you don't get them, but not at the clip you'd like for this situation. The game within the game.
And there is a fly ball. Kiermaier will make the catch. Shaw tags, throws cut off. And now it's a 4-3 Boston lead.
Well, he got it deep enough out there that Kevin Kiermaier forced to rush that throw. And it was going to be a little offline. That's why Richie Schaefer cut it off. And the Red Sox, well, they were held down this entire game after that beginning of that first inning and have jumped out now to take the lead.
Jackie Bradley Jr. fouls it back. So 3 runs tonight charged to Archer in 5 innings plus. 1 run to Romero. He's also responsible for a man on. Ground ball right side. And the toss by Cabrera retires Bradley. But Boston takes a 4-3 lead with a 3-run 6th. Coors Light. The Rays facing the lefty Wade Miley tonight, and they are 25-16 against left-handed starters this year. First pitch, Logan Forsythe takes a strike. The Rays jumped on the lefty for 3 in the first, and the Rays trying to reignite that offense here as they come into bat in the bottom of the 6th. Miley's done a good job of taming the situation.
Made very good adjustments. Started to get some balls in on the right-handed hitters. Mixed in the changeup and the breaking ball. Change of pace.
Forsythe, Cabrera, and then Souza Jr.
When you force a lineup to have to deal with change of speed and pitching to both sides of the plate, that's when you set yourself up to have them off balance.
Upstairs, saw Steve Geltz throwing in the Rays bullpen. And strike 3 call. Second time tonight that Miley's retired him on that.
I mean, you're starting to look. You're like, what's he going to come with? The breaking ball, change up away. And he just executes that pitch flawlessly on the inside corner, and you just don't have a shot.
One away in the 6th. There's Asdrubal Cabrera. It's 11 in a row retired by Miley.
And look at the pace on the mound right now.
Working over both sides of the plate.
That's been it. That's been the adjustment. Both sides of the plate, introduction of the changeup, the occasional breaking ball, cut a few here and there. He's finally gotten into his arsenal.
2-1. Cabrera looking for his first hit tonight. It's too far in. 3-1. Out of play, full count.
And so now you say to yourself, well, close out fastball in, go change up down and away. There's a lot of different ways that Miley can go, a lot of different ways that he's already went.
Three, 2, and a soft looper into center. Off speed. And Cabrera served it right into center in front of Betts for a 1-out single.
Well, he does go with the changeup. Did not get it down and away. Down middle. Down and away, he's going to probably retire Cabrera. Down middle, he's able to flip it out into center field. How about a welcome back blast here?
How about it? He has a base hit and a run batted in. Blast would be good.
And you can see Wade Miley bringing out the A move. This is a guy that has 5 pickoffs from the left side, so you've got to be careful. And the guys that are most suspect to a move like that are the guys that are not going to run, because they just assume you're going to the plate.
Ground ball, Bogarts. Holt one, first, not in time. It's a fielder's choice as Souza beat the throw by plenty back to first.
Yeah, that's that deceptive speed. That ball, too many bounces before it got out to Bogarts. And now you go to Holt. He's going to try to turn it, but forget it. Not close. You never know where that may lead.
Richie Schaefer looking for his first hit tonight. This is a strike. Wade Miley, 3-1 lifetime against the Rays. Looking with a 1-run lead. Hannigan covers it up. 1-1. Miley facing the Rays for the 4th time this year. Now 2-1. Remarkable too. Miley made 30 pitches in the first inning. His pitch count right now is 89. 2 outs into the 6th. He really put a cap on his pitch count. 12 in the 2nd. 14 in the 3rd. There's the rundown since that first inning when the Rays scored 3 times. It's a close pitch and he just missed with the fastball, and it's 3 balls and a strike to Schaefer.
Well, not nearly the strikeout guy that Chris Archer is, and that's always, you start ringing up strikeouts. 5, 6 pitches per hitter.
Schaefer taking a shot on the 3-1 change and missed it.
If you've got confidence in your changeup, sometimes being behind in the count is the best place to be, because the guy's geared up. Here's a good changeup. I wouldn't be surprised to see it again right here.
And he got him right back with the changeup. Down 3-1, back-to-back changeup, strikes him out. The Rays leave a man. We're headed into the 7th. It's 4-3 Boston. By Checkers, epic meals, epic deals. By Grow Financial, don't go through life, grow through life. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. We're at Tropicana Field, moving into the 7th inning, a 1-run ball game. Boston 4, the Rays 3, and a new pitcher. Steve Geltz, the right-hander, follows Archer, Romero, and Gomes.
And he's going to go right after this Boston lineup. right at the top with Mookie Betts on for the 65th time. That opponent's average 182.
Betts 0 for 2 with a walk. The pitch is a strike. Betts walked in the 5th inning. 15-game hitting streak for the young center fielder. 0-2. And a busy year for Steve Geltz. Upstairs, 93 on the fastball up there.
Trying to get that chase. So often we see Steve Geltz be able to do that. Climb the ladder with the heater. Hitters swing right through it.
There's a liner into center and a base hit. So that extends the hitting streak to 16 for Betts. Most popular way to follow the action of Rays baseball is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app now.
Rockhold, a long look down there to Brian Butterfield, the third base coach.
And the bunt. Geltz will take it to first out there to get the hustling Holt.
And I guess that's why. The elaborate bunt sign.
One out. The sacrifice moves Betts up to second. And Bogaerts will be the hitter. He comes in as the third leading hitter in the American League. And hitting overall and hitting with men in scoring position. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Has scored 2 of the 4 Boston runs. He's hitting over 360 with men in scoring position. Pitch is low. Red Sox threaten to expand this 1-run lead. Betts good speed at second. That's a strike. It's 1-1.
That's what it's all about. You know, Brock Holt, talk about how versatile he is in the field, able to get that bunt down with relative ease to get it to your run producers in the middle of the lineup. Not content with a 1-run lead. Steve Geltz really slowing the pace down, keeping his eye on Betts. Every pitch is big.
It's outside. 2-1. Geltz did not appear in the Detroit series, making his 65th appearance. Pitched Sunday against the Yankees.
See where Bogaerts stands with men in scoring position, third in the league. Now it's 2-2.
You know, maybe outside of a 2-game series, that may be the first series that Steve Geltz has not appeared in.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that he's pitching every day. And he's willing to take the ball every day. That's his mentality.
Man, you've got to go in and make an executive decision. You're not pitching today, because if you leave it up to Geltz, you're right. He's going to take the ball.
Still 2-2. So there you go. Kevin Jepsen now with the Twins, tops with 66, and then Geltz with 65.
Steve Geltz still with the Rays. Kevin Jepsen got a jump start here with the Rays to take that lead. Very concerned with Mookie Betts taking off for third. That's 3 inside moves now to try to catch Betts heading to third.
And it's fouled back. Well, I'll say this for Betts, that secondary off second base is very good.
Yeah, a lot of times a base runner out at second is going to want to get a walking lead before they try to steal third. That's why you got to keep your eye on him, make him stop. But you're right. Once the pitch is delivered, he's aggressively, getting out there. And just as aggressively as you get out, you better be ready to get back, because big league catchers, they'll throw behind you. See, everything's still right now. He's got him stopped. Moving.
And a foul ball back on a pitch out over the plate.
Now, these are the little battles. Right now Geltz is trying to retire Bogaerts, but he's also doing battle with Mookie Betts out at second base. That's why when you end up deciding, okay, now I'm delivering the ball to the plate, you have to shut it off. You're done with him, and now you've got to execute a pitch. That's not always easy to do. That's why we talk about these base runners, good base stealers, dividing a pitcher's mind.
And a foul ball again, and that time you could see Geltz concentrating solely on the hitter.
And that will be a call from Rene Rivera. They'll just have a no look. Don't even look. You give a sign for that, and Mookie Betts is waiting for you to look back at him. Look, he's waiting for you. Now you're playing games with him. I'm not even going to pay attention to you on this pitch. And that was a great shot of that happening.
And again, a foul ball back.
I mean, the higher he goes with Bogaerts, he's able to foul him off.
Well, he's 9 pitches into this at bat.
Well, if you put 10 maybe up here, maybe he'll go for that.
Betts opened with the base hit to center. Moved to second on the sacrifice by Holt. Forsythe with some friendly conversation, trying to distract the base runner Betts.
Helping out his pitcher.
2 and a foul ball again. How about that? So they're out to 10 pitches in this at bat now. That's wide. Would not chase up there, and a full count. 3-2. Popped him up. Forsythe out there after it. And he's got it. What a battle that was. A 12-pitch battle between Geltz and Bogaerts. And Geltz finally pops him up.
Never was able to get on top of one of those fastballs. Either fouling him away. He hits that one a little better, and all it does is end up being an infield pop-up. Now you go to work here if you're even going to pitch to Ortiz.
Well, they have Shaw on deck. And now Ortiz will be given the intentional walk. Riefenhauser's up in the bullpen. They're trying to loosen in a hurry. So this will be an intentional walk with Shaw due next. Ortiz will head to first. Hickey's going to head to the mound. And a conference with Ortiz at first and Betts at second base. I want to remind you fans, every Friday, Flashback Rays Day, brought to you by Jeep. Submit the best vintage photo of yourself by using the hashtag #FlashbackRays. We'll select the best photo and feature it in the postgame show. Travis Shaw. Shaw doubled in a run in the 6th inning. That was against Enny Romero. The pitch is a strike. Shaw actually hitting .295 against lefties and .264 against right-handers. The Rays stay with Geltz. 1-1. Foul back, 1-2. Fouls it again.
Well, they are forcing Steve Geltz to have to work. That is for sure. Making pitch after pitch, and you know that the effort level is near max.
Foul ball again. In the direction of the bullpen. So here in the 7th, Geltz has made 26 pitches. And he got it. Fastball up, strikes him out. So the top of the 7th inning over. 2 men left by the Red Sox as Geltz went up and got the strikeout.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So it's 4-3 Boston in the middle of the 7th. And now to say God bless America, we take you to the field and Master Sergeant Brad Clark.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with your light from above. From the mountains and the prairies and the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Starting pitchers presented by Chevron. Matt Moore will make his 8th start of the year for the Rays. And we'll see Rick Porcello, the right-hander, on the hill for Boston. Our coverage begins at 5:30 tomorrow on Sun Sports. Rays, meanwhile, face Wade Miley. And the first pitch is a ball wide to Kevin Kiermaier. 1-1. Josh Rutledge has entered the game at second base. Brock Holt leaving with upper back spasms. Now 2-1 to Kiermaier. Rays down by a run. Andrew Bellatti's up in the bullpen along the right field line. Three and one. Chopper foul. The count is full.
Well, here's the deal. You know, Kevin Kiermaier showed tremendous discipline on the 2-1 breaking ball away, getting to 3-1. Now you foul ball 3-2. Same kind of discipline. We'll see. You would assume they go right back with that pitch.
And he chops it foul. Bottom of the 7th inning. Rays trailed 1-0, then led 3-1 at the end of an inning. Boston scored 3 in the 6th. Line drive, base hit the other way. Cutting to his left, Castillo. Kiermaier's going to head for two, and the throw not in time. Kiermaier had a little malfunction between first and second and still managed to get in there.
And they're saying they may appeal that Kevin Kiermaier did not hit first base. He did stumble coming around first base, still able to get into second, as Rutledge seemed to be surprised that he was there. You go with another breaking ball, you spoil two good ones, and then you leave one up. And Kiermaier ropes it into left center. The thought of going to second all the way. Well, that foot did butt up against first base, so he should be fine there and able to maintain his footing to get into second. You can see they're awaiting word right now on whether to appeal that play or not. It looked like he came up short, but the foot rolled into the side of the bag.
Just show him our replay.
That's right.
I guess maybe, yeah, I guess maybe they saw it. And we're going to get the, there's another look.
Look, he does come up short, but watch it roll right into the side. There you go. He hit it.
So he winds up at second. J.P. Arancibia will pinch hit for Rene Rivera. And the Red Sox talk it over. Carl Willis goes out there, their pitching coach.
But he may be talking about if you're going to appeal this, instructions for all, and keep an eye on Kiermaier.
So the double for Kiermaier, his 22nd. And there is Colomé joining Bellotti in the bullpen. So great opportunity for the Rays. And they are going to appeal it. And safe call over there. Sebia takes a strike.
That's Wade Miley knowing what J.P. Arancibia wants to do. In the days of the scattering reports with the Blue Jays, J.P. wants to get those arms extended, so they immediately crowd him with the heater right out of the gate.
This one bounces away from Hannigan, and over to third goes Kiermaier. A breaking ball. So the Rays get that potential tying run just 90 feet away now.
Well, and Ryan Hannigan is going down to try to catch that instead of block it. Trying to backhand the ball out in front, and it's right off the side of the glove. You get Kiermaier to third. There is nobody out.
Cut and a miss. Now 1-2. CB has had an impact since joining the team from Durham. Pinch hitting here and down on the count. And out on strikes on the fastball.
A couple of well executed pitches up in the zone. And everything with Arancibia was in. This one up, the previous pitch up.
Brandon Guyer, top of the order. He doubled in the first. Hitting against the drawn-in infield. Takes the pitch inside.
Well, and the reason that Boston feeling comfortable in doing this is Wade Miley gets a ton of ground balls. He's right on that fringe of being considered a ground ball pitcher.
It's low. 2-0. 4 runs, 8 hits for Boston. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Rays. Ground ball down to third. Sandoval comes home. Out at the plate. Kiermaier coming down the line, and Sandoval had to reach down for that. Is thrown out at the plate.
And you know what? You couldn't have hit it in a worse spot. You know, Kevin Kiermaier is going to be a guy that goes on contact, but you hit it to third base. It gets to him the quickest, and he's got the shortest throw. Ryan Hannigan blocks it off and makes the tag, but yeah, right here. I mean, it gets to him quick. He's got a short throw, and they got plenty of time to get the speedy Kiermaier.
Well, Kevin Cash taking a little time to review that play. The only thing I can figure is wondering if there was a lane to the plate.
I haven't heard too much of that rule being questioned here recently, but you're right. That clearly he tagged him, but you're right. Did he give him a lane?
So 2 outs with Geyer at first. Mikey Mott took the hitter. And the pitch is a strike. We're back to 2 guys from Louisiana facing off here in a 1-run game. Mott took singled home a run, wound up at second on an error in the first. Made a great play in the 5th on a ball hit by Holt. And now the count is a ball and a strike as he faces Miley. The first and hit it right back was Geyer. Hit it toward left center field. Has some hang time, though. And Castillo runs under it to make the catch. And the Rays threaten, leave a man. We go to the 8th, 4-3 Boston. Take a look at the game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. 4-8-1 for Boston, 3-7-0 for the Rays. Chris Archer worked 5 innings and at one stretch struck out 7 in a row tonight. Gave up 3 runs in the 5 innings of work, and David Ortiz 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI double in the mix. J.P. Arancibia will do the catching, and Andrew Bellotti takes over on the hill as Pablo Sandoval leads off the 8th. Ball 1.
Yeah, that's one of the more disappointing missed opportunities that we've seen. I mean, you get Kiermaier with his speed at third, nobody out, and nothing in a 1-run game, no less.
Fly ball into left. Montook waiting and makes the catch for the out. Yeah, that's disappointing. We had a golden opportunity there to at least pull even.
Well, you're down to 2 shots left. You need Bellotti to throw a clean inning here and then go back to work.
Castillo 0 for 3. The pitch is fouled. The cut and a foul ball, the pitch end. Well, the Rays for Castillo have Kiermaier shaded way over to the right side of straightaway center. You can see right there where he is. Pitch in. 1-1. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Foul right back over the screen again. Castillo playing his first game at Tropicana Field. We saw him earlier in Boston. Pitch in. Now 2-2.
Well, he's another guy that this Boston team has invested a lot in. Hoping for a big return.
And the pitch is inside. He just turned 28 earlier in the week. Over $72 million to sign him, coming in from Cuba. And he draws the walk. 1 out, 1 on. We're in the 8th. Outfit your Rays Super Kid with their very own superhero cape t-shirt presented by the Tampa Bay Times. That'll be Sunday when the Rays meet Boston again. Kids 14 and under receive the super giveaway while supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Ryan Hannigan, who's 0 for 2, drove in a run. Right now the difference in this game with a fly ball to center in the 6th. Pitch is a strike. way wide, a fastball, and it's 1-1. Velotti, the fifth Rays pitcher. And he gets a strike there. And a slider that's not a textbook slider.
Thank you. You see a breaking ball up where little 3 is, get called. Thank you and move along. That does give you the jump here in this count 1-2.
First, Castillo's back in. He's 50-50 in the steal department. 3 steals that he's been caught 3 times.
I actually don't think he was leading off there with that throw over. You measure that lead by the cutout right here. You get that left foot out to the cutout. You start to get a pretty big lead. He's not there yet.
Cut and a miss. Hannigan's out on strikes. So 2 gone.
Well, Hannigan trying to get out there and foul that pitch off, put it in play something, but clearly fooled and off balance in his swing.
You could hardly blame him for the last 3 pitches he saw. The fastball was jerked way wide, then a called strike on that slider up and in. So he didn't know what to expect. Jackie Bradley Jr. takes a pitch away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, Bellotti just saved his best for last.
Yeah.
That was the one he was looking for earlier in the at-bat, and certainly the one that you'll take for the strikeout. Be careful with this guy. Quiet night so far, but he's been sizzling.
Takes a big cut. Comes up empty. Out front. 1-1. Pitch is down, a little bluff by Castillo. Lottie took the loss in that 13-inning game in Detroit. An 8-7 final. Cut and a miss. 2-2. 8-1 for Boston, 3-7-0 for the Rays. We're in the top of the 8th. Jackie Bradley Jr. Runner goes down. The pitch is a ball, and it pops away out of the mitt of Aaron Sebia, and the count is full.
Well, he just was timing Bellotti up. He saw a couple of bluffs over there by Rusney Castillo. Finally going. That pitch didn't look like it was that bad. Let's take a look where this pitch ends up. He doesn't swing. He could have called that.
Sure. That's a good pitch.
It is.
Sometimes with all that action with a runner going and the catcher moving, it will cost a pitcher a pitch, and I think that's what happened that time. Now 3-2. And that's ball 4. 2 walks in the inning. And we'll swing back around to the top of the order. Well, Mookie Betts extended his hitting streak to 16 with a base hit in the 7th. Aaron Seavey and Longoria on the mound with the Rays right-hander Bellotti. Archer 5+. Romero faced 2 hitters. He's the pitcher of record right now. Gomes 1, Geltz 1. Now Bellotti. It's too low. Riefenhauser back up for the 2nd time in the bullpen. Too low, and he's behind 2-0.
Good visit here by Aaron Seavey, trying to calm Bellotti down. A big spot. Looks like he's trying to be too perfect and too fine with every pitch. Yeah, anytime a pitcher gets into a situation, your runner's on, 1-run game, you know you can't give up any more, and you start bouncing fastballs, you're trying too hard. You're trying to make too perfect of a pitch. You're going to occasionally bounce a breaking ball. I get it. When you're bouncing heaters.
Yeah, well, that's when they tell you to trust your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly why Aaron Seavey are heading out there and saying, listen, 93, good movement. Let's give me one.
And a high pop-up foul ball. That's going to be out of play. Or how about 95?
Or that.
Yeah, just relax. Give me 95. See what happens. Oh, foul ball. Okay.
We got a couple options here. We can continue with 93 in the dirt.
Yep.
I'm liking 95 in the zone. It's up to you, though. It's your game.
Just turn it loose. And a pop-up. Foul ball again. And this one will be playable. Aaron Seavey reaching over the top railing of the dugout, trying to make a play on that one. Boy, that's a great effort by your catcher, who just said, look, 95, turn it loose, let it go. He did again. And Aaron Seavey doing everything he could to try to get that pop foul. Look at this effort.
Oh, I mean, an inch. Almost got his manager.
Look at this. And then Derek Shelton and Jim Hickey coming to the rescue. Fly ball center field. Kiermaier's there to catch it. 2 men left after the walks. Bottom of the 8th coming. It's 4-3. At a field, Rays down 4-3. Wade Miley, the Rays got to him early, and then not much after that.
Well, you really got to credit Wade Miley and the adjustments that he made along with Ryan Hannigan. Think about that. The Rays with 3 runs. It was the first 3 hitters of the game that scored. And after that, you started seeing more pitches in, the changeup away. He really mixed well, moved the ball around the zone, used both sides of the plate, and settled this game right now down and allowed his offense to give him a lead.
It's 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Junichi Tozawa comes in from the bullpen, making his 61st appearance.
55 strikeouts in 58 1/3 innings. Rays have seen plenty of this guy.
Here's Evan Longoria to lead it off against Tozawa. One ball, no strikes. Well, Evan was part of the 3-run first. He doubled in a run and then scored.
Actually, the last time that the Rays saw Tozawa, they tuned him up. Innings work, 3 hits, a couple of runs.
Evan fouls this one back. That's going to carry out a play. Forsythe will be next, and then Cabrera. Evan 4 for 16 in his career against Tozawa. The Rays with 2 shots left, down by 1 run. One and 2. Wide of the plate. 2-2. Center. That's going to roll to the wall. Longoria's on his way to second. Ball popping loose, but he will hang on at second base. 2-base hit for Evan Longoria to lead off the home half of the 8th.
Fastball away. He goes down. He gets it. Good plate coverage. Gets that ball all the way to the wall out there in right center field. And now, well, you know, another opportunity. You had a runner at third, nobody out the last time you were at bat. Nothing to show for it. Cannot happen again.
It's the left-hander Tommy Lane up in the bullpen. Brad Boxberger starting to stretch down in the Rays bullpen here with the Rays threatening in the bottom of the 8th. Fouled up the right side and out of play.
These are the situations that you really like Logan Forsythe in. Good situational guy. Got a runner on second. Nobody out. You'd love to get him in. You want to at least move him at minimum.
Logan 0 for 3 tonight. 1 of 5 in his career against Tozawa. And a base hit up the right field line. to score, and the game is tied. Base hit by Forsythe makes it a 4-4 game.
Now they continue to get to Tazawa. Didn't take him long here tonight. And Forsythe staying inside that pitch. You know, if this ball was going to be fielded, okay, he would at least move Evan to third base. Stays inside of it, finds open territory, and drives him all the way in.
So this time the Rays cash in on the opportunity after leaving an opportunity empty in the 7th when Kiermaier opened with a double. Now Longoria doubled and a base hit by Forsythe to get him home to tie it. And here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Strike one. Cabrera dropped a base hit into center in the 6th. And no pitch, time granted by Ted Barrett. One and one. Souza Jr.'s on deck. Cabrera with a 1-1 count. This one away. To the on-deck circle it goes, and down to second moves Forsythe.
Here's the deal. Boston is practically inviting you to take this game from them, so do it. Split this ball in the dirt. Ryan Hannigan cannot smother that ball and keep it in front. We've seen that now twice, allowing Kiermaier to get to third last half. You allow Logan to second with nobody out here in the 8th inning.
So Forsythe in scoring position. And the count's 2-1 on Cabrera. Shortens, takes ball 3.
Still looking for their first out. 3-1, middle down. Why not sell out? Said that Boston was practically begging you to take the game, and maybe that's the shot that did it.
Here's Steven Souza Jr. Big blast to center off the bat of the Rays shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera. into the dugout now. Foul off the bat of Souza Jr. Double, single, home run, and the Rays have a 3-run inning. Wide, now 1-1. One and two, just a little piece of that one foul. Chopper, deep third. Sandoval's throw! Not in time. He's off the bag. Souza safely aboard.
That's the hustle of Steven Souza Jr. First of all, it forces a quick throw by Sandoval because he knows who's running. You know, maybe with somebody else, he takes a minute to be able to step into the throw. He's got to get rid of it quickly here. That forces a little bit of a wide throw. Watch this as he gets it, wastes no time. And it's just a hair wide, and it pulls Shaw off the bag. Clearly.
So the fourth hit of the inning. It's Souza aboard. He's 2 for 4 tonight. Richie Schaefer bats. It's low. A breaking ball. Low, and Souza's going to head down to second base. Hannigan had trouble corralling that breaking ball.
You keep the pressure on, keep the hustle up. Watch the secondary lead, sees the ball in the dirt, and absolutely zero hesitation.
So they're going to give him a stolen base.
Really?
Well, why not?
Hey, I mean, I'll take it.
I mean, secondary lead, one thing, breaking's another thing, but so we'll see. Schaefer takes a strike, 2-1. Really thought it was a wild pitch.
It was.
He took advantage. He had his normal secondary lead. Ball in the dirt, wild pitch. Now you go to second.
Right.
Okay.
It was a great play regardless.
Yeah.
But if they want to hand you the stolen base, you take that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to remove wild pitch, put stolen base in there, and then they'll change it back and just have to erase it again. Hey, there he goes, stealing third. Throw is not in time.
That qualifies.
That's a steal of third, no question. Souza now at third base after that steal.
You know what?
With nobody out.
Nobody out. He's at third. I'm just going to give him a triple. Right?
Why not? Yeah.
Making stuff up. I'll just do triple. Triple for. So they're all hit for the cycle here in this inning. Double, a single, a homer, and now Souza Jr. with the triple.
Yeah. And here's Schaefer. And a cut and a miss. He's out on strikes.
I like it.
Yeah, you're getting very creative.
I like it. Well, listen. Yeah. It's just what happened. It's what I saw.
Well, there you are. You got a man at third. However you get him there, he's at third. And we're going to see a pitching change. Kevin Kiermaier is due up, and the Red Sox are going to change pitchers. We'll be right back in a moment. SunTrust, new checking options that work as hard as you do. By Dollar Shave Club, shave time, shave money. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Back at the Trop where the Rays have a 6-4 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Tommy Lane is the new pitcher, the lefty, on to face Kevin Kiermaier. Lefty's just hitting 145 off him. And the pitch is a strike. And Kiermaier tonight against the left-handed starter, Wade Miley, was 2 for 3.
I had that good approach. You're going to pitch me away, I'm going to take you into left field.
And a little soft liner to third, caught by Sandoval. And Souza Jr. back there at third. By the way, they have changed that steal back to a wild pitch. So it's an infield hit, wild pitch to second, stolen base to third, or if BA's scoring, it's a triple. So another pitching change perhaps coming here with Aaron Sebia due. Novello out there to talk with his lefty. Did get a right-hander up in the bullpen. The difference being this, we mentioned that Lane, lefty's hitting 145 off him, and right-handers 333, and that prompts the move. So we will see a new pitcher for Boston. We'll be back right after this. Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Matt Moore pitches tomorrow night. Our coverage begins at 5:30. We'll hear from Matt Moore, and Doug Wechter will break down Xander Bogaerts and the great year he's put together. Well, in the last 4 months or so, he has been something else. Noe Ramirez, the new pitcher, and the first pitch to Aaron Sebia. He hits it a mile, but it's well foul. Deep and well foul back into the seats.
That's just a warning shot. Either find a better area for that pitch or the next pitch, or I may decide to turn that thing fair.
8th appearance for Ramirez. And there's a shot.
See?
High and deep. I mean deep. And out of here. Aaron Sebia hits one into the seats and left. A 2-run blast.
He tried to warn him. He tried to say, you stay middle of the plate and elevated. I'm going to give you a warning shot, and then we're going to see what's going to happen. Well, guess what? He didn't heed it. So he took it fair.
Suddenly the Rays turn this into an 8-4 ball game on the 6th home run. Aaron Sebia hitting his 4th home run of the year on the 2nd pitch from Ramirez. Oh, strike to Geyer.
I mean, did he see him well or what?
I mean, amazing. Geyer takes it inside. So Aaron Sebia unloads. It's 5 home runs now for Aaron Sebia. 27 on the year if you count the 22 he hit at Durham. He was leading the league in home runs down there when he joined the Rays, and now he has 5 home runs up here. And the Rays make it a 5-run inning. 4 runs charged to Tazawa and 1 to Ramirez on that home run by Aaron Sebia. And that takes care of Geyer. So he's out on strikes, but the Rays get 2 home runs in the inning. A blast to center by Cabrera. And then the long one to left by Aaron Sebia, and it's 8-4 Tampa Bay.
If they can get the final 3 outs. Coming up immediately after the game, you can join us for Rays Live, the postgame brought to you by Checkers. It'll be Todd and Doug from our left field studio. I'll be in the clubhouse awaiting Kevin Cash's press conference, and we'll talk to some of the key players in what we hope will ultimately be a Rays victory over the Red Sox, guys.
Well, an 8-4 ball game, a 5-run 8th inning. The Rays scored 3 in the first, put up 5 in the 8th, and now Brad Boxberger enters the game, making his 60th appearance. And he faces Josh Rutledge, who entered the game in the place of Brock Holt, who had spasms in his back. 1-0 the count to Rutledge.
Brad Boxberger was getting ready quick so that he could come in and save this ball game. And he may still save the ball game, but not eligible for the save with the Rays having that 4-run lead.
There's a strike. Fastball misses. 3-1. Rutledge takes it for strike 2, full count. Xander Bogaerts on deck, and then David Ortiz. Swing and a miss. He comes back to strike out Rutledge. Got him with a fastball.
Nice way to start off the inning. You don't even want to allow this Boston team to think they've got a chance to get back into it, especially going down through the heart of the order. So you take care of business right out of the gate, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's a big out right there, even though you lead by 4.
Yeah.
And you're right with the middle of the order coming, because they would start to get an idea. You get a man or 2 on base, the mindset's completely different.
And that was a strike, too.
Yep. Well, a couple of those we've seen tonight missed. One because a runner was breaking and there was going to be a throw to second. And this one just not caught. One and one.
Didn't catch it, but probably would have hit it 430 feet.
That's right. Yeah, that's about the location of that pitch. He hit the left. I tell you, he has served a notice that he can hit the ball a long way, because we knew that already. Up the middle and a base hit. Bogaerts is aboard. Remember, Aaron Sebia had his first home run off James Shields.
And didn't he have, wasn't that a multi-home run game too?
Yeah, he had a big day.
Yeah. That's right.
So Bogaerts is aboard and David Ortiz is the hitter. Well, you still don't want this lineup getting any ideas, so let's not mess around with it. Ortiz, who has 2 hits tonight, a double and a run batted in and a run scored. First pitch, a strike to him. Big cut and a miss. Ortiz up here for the 5th plate appearance of the night, and despite that big medallion and the weight of that, he's still able to really cut it loose, as he did on that last swing.
Tremendous stamina and strength.
And he's out on strikes. Fastball. 2 gone.
Well, and watch where all of these pitches, you see this one, 1, 2, 3. That's called walking the guy up the ladder right there. That is beautiful. Get the strike, climb. How far will he go?
Away, 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 and right up the elevator.
I mean, that's how you do it.
Travis Shaw takes a strike. And down to second, Bogaerts on indifference. These teams through the first 12 games of the season series had broken it right down the middle, 6-6. We have these 3 and then 4 left up in Boston.
That'll be fun. Four night games in Boston.
Yeah.
It'll be like we moved there.
It's a great city. You get a chance to see it during the daytime.
Like I said,
library's right across the street.
It is.
Spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
High pop. It's a foul ball and carries out of play. 1-2. Rays trying to close this one out. Upstairs, and Shaw does not chase. 2-2. Bellotti is the pitcher of record for the Rays. Zawa for the Red Sox. A little soft looper into left, base hit. Maltuk charges it. Holding at third is Bogaerts. So it's not over. 2 men on with 2 men out as Shaw dropped that one into left.
And I mean dropped. Way off balance, just kind of reaching for that pitch. Looked to be a changeup off the plate away.
Be Boxberger and Sandoval now. Into the dirt. Boy, that's a great stop by Aaron Sebia. Nice job on the changeup.
Well, we've seen a couple of these go in the Rays' favor. Balls in the dirt, careening wildly. This one rattles around in the glove, and he keeps it right in front.
Cut and a miss. He went after that fastball up. It's 1-1. Rays utilizing 6 pitchers. Boston 4. 1-2. Fastball again. One-two, and a foul ball. Archer started, worked 5+. Romero, Gomes, Geltz, Bellotti, now Boxberger. Two and two. Rays have had 12 hits right now. Boston with 10. Men at first and third. Popped up. Longoria makes the call and the catch, and the Rays are winners. Sandoval pops to third. Rays beat the Red Sox 8-4. In the ninth for Boston, no runs, 2 hits, 2 left. And so the Rays pick up their 69th win of the year. They had a big 8th inning. They scored 3 runs in the first, 5 runs in the 8th. Pair of home runs, 2 runs shot by Cabrera, solo home run by Aaron Sebia, Forsythe singled home a run as well, as the Rays score 5 to overcome a 1-run deficit and win this game 8-4.
Listen, I mean, it was a big 8-run sandwich. I mean, you had 3 in the first, silent, and then 5 in the 8th. First ups, last ups, leads you to victory.
For the Rays tonight, 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors, and 5 left. For Boston, 4 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, and 11 men left. Bellotti will get the win. He's 3-1. Tazawa, the loser, now 2-7. Took 3 hours and 26 quick minutes to play this one. 14,796. Right now, let's go to the field. And Todd Callis.
Dwayne, thanks. Asdrubal Cabrera joins us down here. Cabby, first of all, for this team, 10-game homestand, you're running out of time. Huge start to this homestand to get a W against Boston, especially trailing late.
Yeah, this is a big series for us. We got, like you say, we got 10 games here. We got to try to win the more game we can. So,
in your big hit, it was a 4-3 game at that point, or 4-4 game. It had just been tied up. You have a runner on second base. You thought about a bunt the previous pitch, right?
Yeah, and Kevin, he gave me the sign to do whatever they want to do. So I'm just trying to bunt. And my third pitch, and he threw a change. So I was thinking to have a good pitch to 3-1, have a really good pitch to pull the ball. So I did it.
We just saw that home run there to center field. So you were thinking 3-1. You're trying to pull the ball, and then you ended up hitting it pretty well to Rene Rivera has a little. Yeah, so you were thinking 3-1. You were trying to get the ball on the right side, and then you ended up hitting it pretty well to center, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to make a good contact, to move the run to third base. So.
What are your thoughts about this team's chances? You got a lot of teams you have to jump over, and you've got about 3 weeks and a couple days.
I think that you never know. I mean, it's 3 weeks left, so we got to keep doing what we're doing, play hard, play good baseball, and see what happens.
Thanks, Cabby.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Asdrubal Cabrera. Back to you.
All right, Rays are winners tonight. Thank you, Todd. Taking the first game of this series, 8-4. So the Rays take the first game of this series. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast. 5:30 tomorrow on Sun Sports. Coming up, Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. We'll see you there.